Is the government under any form of pressure, politically, of course, with this trend of fake news that has pervaded the social media space?
Well, if you know the president, who I earlier described as the captain of the team, the president rarely gets under pressure. He has learned to take things in his strides. Don't forget that he's been head of state before. Now he is a democratically elected government. He has seen a lot. So he has known how to take things in his strides. The trend may be unwholesome. It may be a bit unsavory. But in terms of, is it worrying to the president and to government? Not exactly. Not exactly.
Let me come to yet another professional. Before you got that appointment, you were an editor or the chairman of a newspaper. Mr. Oloja here is a senior editor with the Guardian newspaper. For a traditional media, what kind of message does the new media poses, or threat it poses to the traditional media in the manner in which people post misinformation on that platform?
Well, first and foremost, it's good the way Mr. Adesina has reacted to it, that the president is very calm. And I would like to get people to also be calm about this, because it is not a Nigerian affair, it's a global affair. It's not something that is new. Fake news, propaganda, just whatever you call it, is for politics and business. People get political gain, people get financial gain from spreading fake news, from setting up fake websites all over the world. In Germany, they are complaining about it. In Australia, in the United States, you know, this thing gained its own prominence during the world wars. Propaganda to demarket here and there, as he said, but it gained currency during the last, this 2016 presidential election in the United States, when the presidential candidate, then now President of the United States, started accusing so many big networks of spreading and manufacturing fake news. Even pointed at CNN and some other big organs like that. They say, you are spreading fake news. And now fake news all over the place. It dominates discussion, even research and everything. And it's part of the forces of globalization. And this is what has come with the advent of social media they call citizen journalism. And I just want to say that we in the traditional media, well, sometimes we fall prey to this when we do not do our due diligence. But there is nothing to worry about this kind of development, because it's a global trend. The president of the most powerful nation on earth is complaining about the media, that they are spreading fake news about him. But we do not have to get worried about it, because it is an idea through citizen journalism whose time has come, and we have to deal with it. We have to manage it. What it requires is management.
Facebook alone has about 1.7 billion users.
Yes.
That's perhaps the population of China and United States put together. Those are perhaps the two biggest countries of the world.
Yes.
And if you look at that followership, what lesson does it give us exactly in Nigeria, for example, of the government of the day in terms of information dissemination?
No, definitely. You know that information managers have to be resourceful and tolerant, and have to also set up and improve their own machinery of management of public information, because all these things will come. As you have this kind of population, you know how many Nigerians are on Facebook and on Twitter and other digital platforms where they spread this news. All that is needed at this moment is not reading from the book of Lamentation, as I once said, is to manage, is to set up their own, because most public organs in Abuja that I know, that I have covered for about 29 years now as a journalist, do not have even websites that where people can get even quick information. They just react to what happened. They need to update their website. They need to get things done, because this era of citizen journalism requires resourcefulness, requires depth, it requires planning, it requires strategic planning,
perhaps
in a way that you can deal with it. Because we are 180 million Nigerians and 6 different geopolitical zones and 36 states, 774 local governments. Huge.
Perhaps we should look at the consequence for some people who peddle fake news. Maybe they do not really understand the magnitude or the effect of what they're doing in the era where we have the narrative of hate speeches, the era where we have some ethnic divisions, we have sectional divisions, religious intolerance in some part of the country. For some of these engines, Facebook, Twitter, and all of these engines, what do you think the government should do to curb or to douse this kind of trend?
Well, definitely, as I said, they need to be resourceful the way they react to it, the way they have reacted to this one. Well, I think it's measured is good enough, but they also should improve on their own investment in software to track, because you can track some of these things, and they should also be very, very proactive in reacting to some of these things.
The Chinese government reacted, the American government reacted. It made Facebook to say they're going to send an alert or fake news alert on their engine. Do you think the federal government should do anything major? Send a message.
If you read the reactions to whatever Facebook itself has done, they are now saying that no, in democracy, free speech, because it's an attack. Whatever people are saying will be interpreted to me an attack on free press. And if you attack free press in a democracy, you see the reaction that will come. That this fake news is something that we have to live with and manage, because it will not disappear.
All right.
What it requires is resourcefulness in managing fake news, in improving their own organs, so that they can react to it. Yes, and social technologies.
All right, we take a break now. When we return, we highlight the possible dangers of fake news and their hidden agenda. That's next. Join us again, everyone.